Takes a village. All right. So just so everybody knows, we had a little tech delay. We were trying to make sure that we had all the scores accurately collected and reported. And so we were able to do that. It took us a little time. So we're starting at 1:30 instead of 1, but all is well. We thwarted the technological demons, and I think we're back on track. So this is November 14th, and I want to say thank you to the Ad Hoc committee. Whoops, Liza, sorry. Liza got lost in the technological shuffle. So we have here with us today Lee Ice, who is representing the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. Thank you, sir. Tim Metz could not be here today, but he is the representative from the Cultural Arts Commission. Fally Afani, who I'm claiming as a community event organizer. I think she has about 87 community-related titles, but thank you. And then Liza, who got lost in tech, but has done this now 4 times. This will be the full 3 or 4 times, which is really appreciated. And I appreciate you always, you're one of the first people that raises your hands when this comes up. So I appreciate your skills in the arts community, but also on doing this board before. And then this year, Roger and I, who have overseen this program for many years, also scored things just to add that to the mix. Okay. Just because we have direct experience with all of these events in various capacities. But we are going to remain basically mute. I may offer some thoughts just as I see things, but beyond that, I won't say anything else. And I'll let you guys do the lion's share of the work. So that everybody knows, we received 33 applications for the 2026 Unmistakable Event Grant, with requests of a total of $376,707.68. This amount is $226,707.68 more than the available budget of $150,000. So as we look at these 33 grant applications, keep in mind that the average request is about $11,415. With a $150,000 grant budget, we can't fund everything at the level applicants are hoping for. So the discussion today is really about balancing priorities and community benefit. So we just have to be practical. We have less money available than we have the ability to give away. So just want to make sure that's upfront with everybody. In your packets, I put together just some general scenarios. Obviously, these are now not accurate according to what we have on screen, but they do give you a sense of if you were to give 100% to a certain number of grant applications, how far down the list you can go. So we use a percentage. Let me show that. So we use this form, and what I can do is as we go through, if I say 100%, and that automatically tallies the amount. And so you can work on a percentage basis and work your way down the list of 33 grant applications. Does that make sense to everybody? So we can actually do this in real time. So those are just references for you all to get a sense of how far you can go and where the numbers change. Okay. Also in your packet is a copy of the all too familiar for you guys application form, just as a reminder in case you want to check in on how you did scoring and that type of thing. And we also have a copy of the grant guidelines, which is all this is also online in case you want to reference that as well. And we have guests in the room. Chuck, if you want to take, that's the score sheet. Don't take that because that's not accurate. But these are the guidelines if you want to take those.
Good. So even if not accurate, it's
well,
can I
take it. Yeah, but it's not going to be accurate. Well, I can print a copy, so let me do that. Okay, that way you all can follow along and have the accurate information. Sure. Hey, Nash. Okay. So let me get those and just toss these away because those will be longer. Just so we don't confuse things. Thank you. Other ones? No, I just want the most recent ones, which is these, thank you. All right, so this is.
Super, thank you.
With that, I think we can begin. Oh, and just because I know, Lee, you haven't done this before, that what happens is we have a standard deviation calculation, and so the blue and red just indicates where something is either above standard deviation or below. Red is below standard deviation. This is purely, so the scores stand as a score stand, but the red and blue help indicate where there may be some sort of anomaly based on scoring or that type of thing, in case somebody wants to have any discussion about that. So for awareness, that's that. It's just a visual reference to help, guide any discussion.
There's been some shifting, I can see.
A little bit, I think, did happen with your scores, yeah.
Do you feel like a lot of groups asked for the full funding more than usual this year?
I don't know that it was more than usual. There's always a group that, goes for that. But I don't think it was anything different. We had one more than last year application.
A couple of groups I noticed asked for exactly their budget. Which is interesting.
Down to the pennies.
And yeah, I mean, anytime I've asked, I always advise people to be as realistic as you can. Obviously, what is your actual need? If you don't need $15,000, then don't ask for $15,000. But I think most of these events are large enough that that's understandable what they ask for. And in years past, generally speaking, in years past, the group has always, funded the top grant applications. And then work their way down by percentages, in some cases, some years they've actually funded everybody, which from a staff perspective is a little challenging. But it's also a question of, if somebody asks for $8,000 and gets $1,000, is that really going to be, I don't think anybody would refuse that, but then there's the question of, what's the validity of that? Let me change validity to impact. What is the impact of that? Validity is not the fair word. So.
I think 1,000 for a small group who's just beginning can be very impactful.
That is true. And I have seen that happen as well. You're absolutely right. And you're right. It's one of the great challenges of this is that we have a wide range of events listed. Some are much larger than others. Some are kind of starting out. And to your point, yeah, $1,000 could actually make a big difference.
Like when Paper Zine started, they were just starting. I don't remember what we granted, but what I thought was interesting, I was talking to Fally about it, is all of those sports teams didn't apply. Remember all the different kinds of
So-
sports?
Historic, yeah, that's right. Your tenure goes back far enough. This is certainly open to sports.
Mhm.
But I don't remember exactly what year, but in one year we created, or the commission created a bid fund through Explore Lawrence. Because a lot of those sports efforts were looking for that type of opportunity and didn't want to go through the grant opportunity.
Oh, okay.
And so that shifted things more to Explore Lawrence for tournaments and that type of thing. And so they can handle that side of
Okay.
things. So that is one of the reasons we're not seeing that as much here.
And it seems like, maybe 75 to 80% are repeat. That we've seen
Well,
before.
like I said, we had 32 applications last year. We have 33 applications
Yeah.
this year. So I think the lion's share, I don't know the percentage. I haven't had a chance to really go through it, but I think, yeah, the lion's share of these is certainly same as previous years.
We have a lot more. I feel like the top 15 have a really good cultural impact. So they score really high and ask for like almost the full funding of around. But those feel very strong to me. Like, I'd love to fund fully the top 15, but that's going to really hurt for the rest. And there's a lot between like 15 and 25 that I think are also really good and important.
And then what we ran into last year was some of the scores are really close together. And so if you have that arbitrary cutoff at 15, then like there's only 5 points difference, or yeah, between Mardi Gras and Generational Beauty. So it gets tough.
One other thing I need to just add is, so with World Cup 2026, we did identify that in the guidelines, but we don't have any specific change in scoring related to that, other than if you put something in for a merit score. I just bring that up because we certainly did encourage any events happening between June and July that wanted to add something could do that. And the reason I bring that up is because I know that Haskell Indian Nations University, number 22 here, has actually created an event specifically for that goal. Such as something to be aware of.
Yeah.
It's also the environmental impact score really thwarts it, because you'll have an event that is really valuable, but it's not really specifically detailed how environmental it is. But like a horse parade is the most environmental thing you can get. There's no cars at all.
Right.
You know?
But if you don't mention it as a line item.
Yeah. And some people put down like, we're gonna reduce, environmental impact by recycling this and whatever, which is good, but not like most of them.
Yeah. My column was all zeros, just a couple of points for that.
I will take the opportunity to mention to anybody who's viewing this video in the future, please read the guidelines.
Yes.
And scoring this year, it occurs to me that apparently not everybody is reading these guidelines as closely as they should. To the points that you just made, that people aren't, they have things in their event, but they are not articulating them in their grant application information, which is a disadvantage to them in a way. It's like, if you're doing this or you have some sort of impact that relates directly to the city's strategic plan, put it in there.
I was disappointed also to see how many people didn't seek additional funding, but there were some people who were like, well, we just haven't yet, because that starts next year, and that one I was fine with scoring okay. But a lot of people just didn't.
I'm aware of a couple of events that could certainly apply for this, and for whatever reason have chosen not to, so, yeah. And I think it's gotten a little more competitive in
Seems like
recent
it,
years too,
yeah.
so, yeah, I mean, it's a limited amount of funds for a lot of great events. That's the dilemma.
Has the amount changed from a year ago that you were able to distribute?
No, it's been 150,000. It went to 120. Well, 1 year in COVID, we didn't do it at all because we weren't collecting TGT, and then it went to 120. But then since then, it's been at 150,000.
Suppose after FIFA, it might go up.
So Luis Ruiz, who sadly has left us, but one of the things he figured out was that we could seek a larger amount in the TTT tax, which has been approved by the city commission, so 2% more. The challenge with TGT is you're always 1/4 behind.
Right.
Because the funds go from our hotels and Airbnbs to the state, then they get processed, then they come back to us.
Yeah.
And you can't spend that money before you have that money.
Yeah.
And we're also trying to rebuild reserves after COVID.
Right.
But to answer your question, yes, there should be
Maybe just for 1 year.
additional
you know,
funds.
like a bump.
Well, we're planning to use what we anticipate additional funds to help bolster things for World Cup this year.
Mhm.
But we don't know yet what those numbers are.
Our GT like percentage was way behind what other cities do in Lawrence, from what I understand.
Kind of a mix, depends on what you were looking at. We were kind of in the middle of the road, and now we're not highest, but up and higher range, so it made sense to do that.
I really liked your idea of like $1,000 can make a big difference to someone who applied for very little. You know, like $1,000, like parking day, that's half of what they requested.
It's true.
But like, the music crawl is only requesting just like a little over $4,000, $1,000 fee.
Mhm.
So like it scored lower. But, you know, if we like took the bottom 5 performing and just gave them a flat fee versus percentages on the others.
Well, one thing that has been helpful in the past was Roger did the magic on there and we would say, okay, show us what 80%, how far down you get. And can you do those
Sure.
manipulations?
That's exactly what I was saying. Yeah, we can do that.
If I see a glaring mistake that I made, am I able to change anything?
They're not identified here, so I can't guarantee.
I mean, it's 40
You
points.
can argue, well. If you want to argue in favor of a specific event because you think you made an error in your calculation, let's put that.
In the calculation I have.
Oh, so you know which one?
There isn't a 46, it should have been a 6. And so they were given 40 additional points.
Oh,
See what I'm
you
saying?
typed in by accident an extra digit.
Yeah, I mean, when I typed it in, it came out at 46 for that. And it was added to that total. I'm supposed to rank it 0 to 10. And it's a 46.
So you put it on your thing, okay.
And then it got added.
So what I need to know is what effect did that have?
40 points on one of the,
But you don't know which one.
well, I do,
I don't see anything that is like,
the very first one.
What was your total?
86,
So does this look like your row?
yes,
8692.
yes.
I'm gonna make a note.
And I apologize, and
Okay,
I missed one other one too, that wasn't put in at all. Should have looked at it a little bit closer.
all right, so you're saying 86, what would that come to?
Well, it should have been a 6 instead of 46, so minus 40 of that total. What's that total, 489? So. Second quarter, I'm sorry. How well I had scored, I mean, the total was 96, I'm sorry, it would have been the next one over. That's me.
Okay, this is where we get into real tricky territory.
Also, it should be blue, shouldn't it? Since it's-
Well,
and yeah, for some reason, this one. Lee, I'm not sure. I want to do this.
yeah, I know.
I also don't know if it would make too much of a difference because it's scored so high with everyone.
Mhm.
True.
If we're fully funding like the first top.
So, I mean, when you submitted your scores, they were alphabetical by event.
Yes,
It's changed because I've tallied, so we'd have to make sure
right.
that you are, were your scores typically high? Like I'm seeing a lot of nineties.
Yeah. And those should all be blue, I think. Because they're above.
Well, I think they may have just been just outside of the standard
No,
deviation.
mine, I have very few nineties on my spreadsheet.
Hmm.
Matter of fact,
Because these other blues are in the 80s.
Lee, what did you have for the Lawrence Old Fashioned Christmas Parade?
92.
And what did you have for Free State Festival?
60.
What did you have for Lawrence Busker Festival?
See, that's one that.
All right, then skip that. What do you have for the,
And then, there was a column that didn't have a score. So it should have been higher, but anyway, go ahead.
what did you have for the Christmas show? 2026 Theater Lawrence?
That in, which one was that? $55.
All right, so this, I'm gonna, if you're okay, I'm just gonna put a note on here. All right, so this is actually your column. Because I don't want to tinker with anybody's scores unless
Right.
we really know. So you say that you have two errors.
There is a 79 in that box. You said you had nothing. It's showing up as 79.
The Busker Fest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, you said, so what he's talking about is, remember, the score sheet has several entry points, but ultimately what's getting scored is the tally.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying you have
So one
something
of the
on your
en-
score sheet that's an error, but it affected the end
Well,
balance.
The Busker Fest, I failed to put in anything. Does this event celebrate and enhance environmental sustainability? So there was no score in there at all.
That's okay.
So that's just a.
I mean, it was a mistake, but that's okay. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, unless they called out specifically something that they did,
I mean,
and that's limited to 10 points.
yeah, and I had it down as the 79.
Okay, I think that then should stand. But then the 86 for the KU powwow, what was the score you had?
The score I had that's on my,
Was 46?
A powwow. I had a total of 96 on my score sheet. Opens the next row.
Well, but that just coincidental that somebody else was, because this one, for whatever reason, somebody scored.
But I don't know how, if that column is mine at 86, on my score sheet, it says 96.
For the KU powwow?
Mhm.
Oh, but you were saying it was 40 points too high.
Right, because I put they put a 46 in for a scoring that was supposed to be 0 to 10, that was supposed to be a 6.
Can you change that on what you have?
I can try. Because I did it on a computer, not this. I don't think.
Oh, so this is just your.
Yep.
Well, if it was supposed to be higher, that doesn't change the order of things, because
Right.
it's still the highest anyway. So I'm thinking that even if there's an error, but you said it was 96, there's some sort of confusion on this particular. entry, but you didn't score it lower. So I think it can stand.
I think so too. I think it would make a difference.
Even if they lost 40 points,
They lost 40 points, they'd
they'd
still
still be
be.
second.
I'm not sure what happened between when you scored and submitted to now, but I mean, 40 points sounds scary, but based on what you're saying.
My scores onto that, and they were 10 points off.
Which again, even if that did occur, that doesn't affect us adversely because it's still consistent with how the scoring played out. Is that true? I want to make sure the group is okay with that.
I think this still would have been the top scoring to them regardless. And we're also probably gonna end up scoring like the top 5 get this percentage, so it doesn't matter where it's within the top, right? We're gonna be
first or second.
That's the main thing is that, you know, if it should be down at number 10, that's one thing, but if it's staying
still
within
in
the
the
top
And this-
5.
And last year this scored like pretty high, like
Right.
also, right? Wasn't it like top?
Well, and based on the criteria, it's certainly, the BIPOC issue is a significant one. So I wasn't surprised. This didn't cause me any concern when I saw this because that made sense.
They will
Yeah,
not,
and you're right, instead of 489 to 449, it'd still be in the top
I
5.
don't think it's gonna lose any funding based on that scoring error.
Right.
So we'll see that.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody agrees with that. Nobody's concerned. Okay. Any other issues, concerns anybody's seeing? And of course, regardless of scores, if somebody's like, you know what? The Puppy Day Parade is the greatest event since sliced bread, but it only scored 3. I want to argue that it should be, you with me? So that's part of the reasoning behind this is that to encourage dialogue where necessary, if you think something isn't, even if it scored lower or higher. And we need a Puppy Day Parade.
Everyone watching this Zoom is going to get ideas for next year.
So, oh, sorry, going back to where we were. So I'm just doing this as an experiment. Like we said just now, 100%. What if I just do this? 1,000.
And
All
then
right, so if we do that, oops, where's my total? Huh. Hang on, let me do this. Gosh, I can't see my sheet.
Just type in equal.
Oh, right, it's alt equal.
Parentheses.
this, I remember this last year.
You got it.
All right, so that's 70K right there. Let me move our video screen here and get this bigger again. Okay,
70 to split between, 20s under.
right.
Um,
And you have the scenarios in your packet of just, how things shake out as you go
And
down.
these top ones all did ask for a lot.
that's for them. And some people, they just be asking for the full amount and expecting less.
Yeah.
That's why I can't say that. But
There's different strategies in grant writing.
Mhm.
Can we do 85% for the top 5? See what that looks like?
That's 60,000.
Problem is that numbers 6 through like 25 are really great. So it's like a huge amount that we gotta be careful.
Do you think we could keep going down with that 85% and just see how far we can get? Checking every couple of cells.
Actually, I can shrink this a little bit so we can see better. Hang on, we can do.
Please forgive her. 226. Small.
Oops.
Yes, we've gone over.
Okay. So what did we get
So
to?
85% gets you to just over 13.
No. Rolls out of
Oh,
all.
the Haskell powwow doesn't get in.
Mhm. But
Well-
already, there's
The Mardi Gras.
there is the barber shop harmony society. I thought that was interesting. They were
Oh, too. Oh.
like all the way down to like
Town things.
everything down to 25 are things that are like part of our unmistakable identity. I don't want
Yes.
to leave them with nothing.
Okay, what if we went to, what if we went to 75?
For everybody?
Well, let's see how far we can get. Maybe we can do everybody. Because 75 is still a good chunk of the total. And then you can just copy and paste.
Right.
In fact, you can select all the cells and paste all at once. No,
Well, I
no,
mean,
so first copy and then select all the
Right,
cells.
yeah.
It'll be way over, but maybe we can. Fair way. Oh, gosh, okay.
The thing is that the like 25 through 33,
Yeah, maybe just delete those
really,
and see where we are.
some of those bottom ones ask for a lot of money. That's budgetable.
Yeah. Okay,
Let's try out 10 through 25 at like 60%. Or, yeah.
Yeah.
60.
Starting at 10.
Starting at 10.
Sorry, bear with me. I know this is hard to watch. All right, so you want this to be 65. Down to
25, yeah,
25.
yeah.
Those are very decent numbers, but
We're still so high.
let's top, okay, what are the top 10 from the day? Let me see again. 75, let's put those at like 70, that's trivial, but we're gonna drop incremental numbers.
And I will mention in years past, the concern with that is that because they did score highest, are you inadvertently impacting them?
Yeah.
Just throw that thought out.
Well, like 6 through 10, if they were at 70.
Right, so we're refining like. We're still looking for 60,000 though.
Okay, and then we'll change those other numbers to like drop them to 50.
Yeah.
These starting here,
Starting there.
Yeah,
Go through 10, no? You're only given 4 and 70, no, I guess 5. But 1 through 10 was gonna be 70.
Yeah. No, 1 through 5, 75, and 6 through 10, 70.
oh. go
yeah, just to there.
Yeah.
Okay. Show us the numbers.
Yeah, we'll get
Oh,
close.
30,000.
Because anything under 50 at 35, but so there are ones that are now we're wanting to fund at 50. Where we said like it'd be easier if, let's see. The ones that asked for like 4,000 or whatever, just give them like a flat fee. The smaller budget ones, but. They all ask for
It's
lots.
easy to work from the percentage perspective and just say, what fee would you want to? I mean, I guess you can do that, just say, we want to give X amount to any individual.
And what if, go back down a bit, what if 20 through 25 got, like 40%?
Oops. Why didn't that work?
And these aren't bad events and they have good scores, but there's just too many events. That's why I feel bad going under 50 for anything. Eesh. That 70 could be changed to 65. The ones that are at 70% changed to 65.
We can always go to 70 on those top ones too.
I hate to do that because they scored so well and they're so big.
65 should get us close.
Grr. Ew. He's just like barely moving the tile. And then we didn't even, like, I wanted to give something to even like the 25 through 30,
No.
but we're not even doing that yet.
How many do we have at that 50%?
You know what? I just thought of something else. All right, Haskell Indian Nations University. Haskell commencement. Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, where I'm oofing is the same agency can't apply for 2 grants. I just caught that.
Ooh.
That's in the guidelines. That's a matter of equity of trying to, share. So
Oh,
And they're both
Doesn't
at the
the-
top too, I mean, as
doesn't
far
that-
as minutes.
Apply for a
15 on both.
Our center has Nutcracker.
and Free State? Is
Okay.
it Free State through them? I thought it was Marlowe.
It's Marlowe, but it's all over town. It's not just at the Arts Center, like.
But I mean, who's the entity proposing?
it is the Arts Center. So yeah, I'm not sure how that got overlooked, but let's make sure we get this in the record. Hang on. Please note, increased, as on the second page of the guidelines, increased equity for the city's 2 grant programs. The city administers 2 annual grant programs that are both funded by the Transient Guest Tax Fund. These are the Unmistakable Events Grant Program, which supports public events, and the Cultural Arts Commission's Community Arts Grant Program, which is dedicated to arts and culture projects, programs, and initiatives. To increase grant equitability, each applying agency can only receive 1 grant.
I need to look at the applications.
This can be either from the Unmistakable Events Grant Program or the Community Arts Grant Program, but not both. However, if 2 separate nonprofits are collaborating on the same event, each organization may apply for its own grant. So in other words, if the Art Center was doing another event and had a different agency apply for that grant because they're working with them, they could do that. So that's really clear in the guidelines. And I'm sorry I didn't catch that. I've been more focused on numbers until now. So
So does that disqualify one of the Haskell?
one of the grants would have to be disqualified for this. Now, they could come back and compete at the community arts grants level,
Mhm.
which has $70,000 in total funding. So that's important and actually does change things. I would say they would probably defer to the lower scoring
Mhm.
grants, right?
That's the World Cup event that they created?
Let's see.
And then the ballet, the Nutcracker and the Free State Festival, like.
Free State Festival is definitely the bigger event. I mean, the ballet is very, very important, but yeah, unfortunately they didn't. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take this out and I'm gonna make a note here. I'm just gonna make this there. All right, hang on, let me just get this cleaned up. So Free State Festival, Lawrence Busker Festival. Christmas show is fine. Okay, where's the
I don't,
There's that powwow. The
Nutcracker?
yeah, but like, what do we do? We just black out the lower one, but that's not very fair, because maybe the Nutcracker wanted to apply for something in.
Well, they asked for the same amount. So for instance,
So we're gonna tell them to choose.
yeah, where's the Haskell powwow?
Powwow's the first one, then they
No,
asked.
no,
for
powwow's-
Oh, that's KU.
Yeah,
The commencement powwow is 15,000 and their educational program was also 15K. So in a way, you're not you can award whatever you think is preferable, but if, no, we have to make a decision and we have to do it without
Can't
their
let
input.
them decide it.
Well.
Not at this
we-
stage.
We can assume they'd want the one that scored the highest, right?
Well, that would make the most sense is
Yeah.
that from your perspective, you're granting the same amount of money either way, or the same individual grant amount. But yeah, you have to then say, this is for this event because that's how we scored it.
It's scored higher.
It's very unfair to the ballet, I think. The ballet's so different than Free State Fest, and it's a different time of year, and it's two completely different people and departments. One's film, one's performance, so that feels very unfair.
Well, again, if they're collaborating with another nonprofit, they could conceivably compete for a community arts grant, but they shouldn't have honestly submitted for 2 grants.
They just didn't know the other one.
Well, again, read the guidelines. Sorry.
But in the past, we have allowed it. Have the guy?
Yes, this changed
Yeah.
the last 2 years because there was some criticism about equitability.
Okay,
And also sharing the grant funds for newer events, because a lot of newer events were frustrated. They felt like they couldn't break into
yeah.
which I think we've done a good job. But that's part of the reasoning behind this and the Art Commission even agreed with their community arts grants. They wanted to stagger them intentionally. So, if you
You have a
didn't get
chance,
one
yeah.
grant, you
Yeah.
possibly could get a different grant.
Yes.
If it fits, so like I know that Art in the Park included an arts element as part of Art in the Park. So they got funding for Art in the Park and then another entity was able to get funding, or they got another grant from the community arts grant to help with an arts program.
What if they come back and say, well, we would have rather funded the Nutcracker than the.
I'll have to have that conversation, but I think I have to defend the scoring as stands.
So would
Those
those
guys represent this. Where's the other amount? Hang on, let me make sure I get this right. So we're saying this one.
Mhm. Black box.
I mean, I think we have to take into consideration, you're looking at 40% here. So. Whoops.
These numbers look like, yeah.
Is that it? Are those the only 2 things I
Yeah.
think that I saw? Yeah. Okay,
There's some marathons, but I can't remember who does what.
that's still above, but
11,000.
it got within
Very
11,000.
close, okay. Well,
I know that we're still above, but do we want to look at those non-school, ones that we're not
yeah,
distributing anything?
65 could go to 60. And then we might have something to work with for the other ones. There are some that I feel where I was like, I would not fund them at all. But
There's one more at the top.
because they just seem kind of like, oh, I don't know, like on their application, they seem very clueless. And so, or like.
Yeah, now you're just sort of, you're getting closer, but it's still.
Yeah,
It's a drastic change.
It seems to me logic would be to work up from the bottom at this point.
yeah, the
I mean,
music crawl is getting kind of low, but I guess 30%.
More.
Or the 40s.
Oh, 4,000. Good. Woo. All right, let's look at the 50s. Maybe they go down to
45.
Well, and
48.
you don't,
You got a lot of
you can
50s.
also look at the numerical breaks.
So 15 through 20 kind of go into the 45, then leave the other 50s alone.
So,
Which ones?
15 through 20, but, oh, sorry, 15 through 19.
oh, going down?
Yeah. 15, and then you change it to 45.
5, 45. 45, 45. Oops, that sticks, right? Was this a 30?
Yeah, it's fine. No, it was a 50.
Okay. Oof.
I do not want to rob any more from the bottom ones. It's getting small amounts.
Yeah, it's getting tiny. What about 74%?
73% for this one. I mean, it might hit that number, maybe 73% for those.
73, or so should we shoot for 74 and see what that gets us?
34.
74 might do
I'm
it.
not a mathematician, but
Very rotten giving such high scores, such a not everything they asked for, but.
It's a balance of trying to get as many events as possible.
Geez Louise, okay.
Go.
Me trying not to curse on live Zoom.
So we've got what, 1 through 5 is what?
Let's go back, put those 74s and 73s and see what happens. That like,
1 through 5, 6 through 10, nope, 6 through 6, 7, 8, 9.
It's like this every year, though. We have to,
this feeling very
And say-
rotten. Yeah.
was it $59?
Got $59.
And 10 cents.
I think
Put the-
that's,
put the
that's,
Bottom, well,
Can the city swing that 59 so we don't have to keep cutting?
I think we could probably cover $59. Well, and if I have to, I'll figure out where we can just scrape that off. Or I'll put it in myself.
the other ones, the only thing I felt in the bottom ones that aren't getting anything was that Center for Russian East European, but that's a small event that's been growing a little bigger every year. And it looks a little better when they apply for stuff, so
I was surprised.
the other ones I was like, I didn't like, their applications felt incomplete.
Mm.
But that one, I was like, oh, it's doing, but I don't know why it's worked so crappy.
And they asked for so little.
Yeah, they didn't ask for very much at all. That's the only one I feel bad about.
What's the end? Let's see, the Trails That Connect Us is the last funded one. It looks like we collectively don't like sports or food.
Well, and like the food thing,
Well, and that's also, partially because of the score sheet
The matrix.
and what there, it's not just the event itself, but what's the purpose of the event, those types of things.
it's an event that you still have to kind of pay a lot of money to partake in. You have to go out to a restaurant and eat, you have to, whereas a lot of the other events are like free for the community, the parades, the things you can go to.
Well, two of them were fundraisers. I think the half marathon was for Heartland, right? And restaurant week, was that just food or that was its own thing? That was just to raise revenue in the dark days, the darks of the winter.
Well, it also promotes our area restaurants and stuff.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
A good off-season thing.
But it doesn't, it's not arts and culture, it's restaurants, it's like,
Yeah.
so it's trying to do arts and cultural things, and restaurants are, those are businesses, I don't know how to put it. But you understand me, I'm trying to get it. Felt bad about the opera. That's arts and culture.
A good point about the sports, why couldn't the runs be included on, like when you move to tournaments?
And
then Explore Lawrence doing one for the tournaments, you
we
said?
have a bid fund for any events. Yeah.
Most of those are sports related, why couldn't the runs go through that?
Because this is grants and that's more of a incentive. So that's where that separates. And I think the sporting events that are here are very localized. One of the biggest rub in this grant program is the idea that we should be replenishing transient guest tax dollars by booking hotel rooms and Airbnbs. But we're also trying to advance our unmistakable identity and our unique character of Lawrence. So that's, going back and forth like a local run is probably not going to attract a ton of people who are going to spend money on hotel rooms, but it's still a popular event. So it's that back and forth sort of challenge of which one makes more sense. I think, based on what I read in the beginning, clearly there's going to be some people who are disappointed. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's
Every year
a
it's-
very popular grant program. The message to the city commission is there any way to increase this grant program? Because it's obviously very, very popular. We love events in Lawrence. There is no question about that. So I just want to put that in the mix for your, awareness.
Do any of these entities ever write back and ask for feedback on why they scored, where they scored?
Less in this, because obviously this is recorded and, transparent in that sense. And it is such a mix, it's really hard it's unlike an arts situation. I get more of those questions from an arts situation or a request for qualifications for artists, that type of thing, of how can I improve
Right,
what I'm doing. The
right.
number one answer I'd say for anybody asking about this, and we've said it before, is read the guidelines. Honestly, I think a lot of these things would change if people actually read the guidelines and articulated what the guidelines are seeking better. Not to say these aren't, well done, they're all well written and all, but I think there's room for improvement on pretty much all of these at some level.
Feel bad
For which one?
5 through 9 because it's like just a little over half, but were in the top 10,
Mhm.
It's a pretty even, like a great
The slope,
graduation, yeah, like it's not like we
Yeah.
jumped from 60 to 35 or something.
Right.
So this is 23 total grants, because there's two.
Mhm.
I'm okay with this, I just feel really bad about the Russian East
Mhm.
European thing, that's the only thing I kind of feel rough about.
Can everybody live with this?
Well, we just don't have any place to pull any more money, right?
Actually, considering that there was $376,000 in ask, and you all got it to 150,000, and quite honestly did fund, 23 different applications.
Mhm.
I think, it's fair to say half of this is what, 16 and a half, I guess, technically, but so you went beyond that. So I think that's admirable.
Some feedback for the future with applicants, because I used to be an applicant, I used to apply for this every year. And a couple of projects I'm involved with are on this, but I didn't score it. So because of conflict of interest, but like the first time I applied, I asked for what I needed. And then when I was like, oh, you only get such a small percentage, you
Mhm.
score even kind of high. So then every year I started asking for the full amount. So it's gonna be larger and larger asks every year, because people who did well in the top 10 but only got like 40% of what they wanted are gonna just ask for the full and try and just assume they're getting like less,
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's gonna be a weird problem to deal with. It's probably something we're dealing with this year.
I think so, yeah. Because there was a greater variety in past years of asks.
And as somebody who's been in this arena before, Lawrence doesn't have a lot of corporate support or that type of thing either. And
Mhm.
that's one of the challenges. Because ideally, I've been in the grant business for a long time. Ideally, you want people to wean off of the grants so it creates more opportunity for others.
We said
When you're in a Kansas City, well, the thing is that it's almost draconian to try to apply that here.
Yeah.
Because there isn't other, the
Exactly.
state has their grants for arts programs and stuff, but it's not like there's a ton of available funds that way. Some people are able to find private sponsorship in various ways, which is super.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's one of the challenges here is that there's not a lot of extra money.
Right.
I keep saying we need to find a nice billionaire that wants to move to Lawrence and help us out.
One of the events I'm involved with that's on this list is fully funded by mom and pop establishments in Lawrence. And somebody was like, oh, how's your federal grant funding? I was like, we don't have any federal, we don't even get one grant from the city, and it's usually this. And so everything else is like little ice cream shops and whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
pet food stores.
Yeah, I know businesses get hit up all the time and So anyway, that's just the nature of an economic structure. There are limitations and benefits either way.
I'm okay with this because it's the best with what we have, what we can do. I feel this is the first time where I've not been able to give everybody something. That's a large amount of people that don't have anything. And the agencies that applied for two and had to keep blacked out, that'd be a tough conversation. And maybe worth more clarification on next year's postings. You had a really good idea on like having workshops on how to apply for grants in this.
Yeah, unfortunately, staff capacity is a little limited on that type of thing, but I would say read the guidelines. Have I said that enough? And I say that because I oversee so many programs, and it kind of astounds me when I talk to people. It's like, did you read the guidelines?
Yeah.
And a lot of people just don't. And it's a shame because I think it would be a real advantage to do that. I know it takes a lot of work, and I know not everybody's brain is geared that way. So find somebody that can
Right.
read that and interpret it for you. That'll be a
Well,
benefit.
you can see the people who are seasoned grant writers. You can see because they hit every mark.
Right.
You need, and it's actually a joy to read.
Yeah, that's true. And that would be, since we're giving advice, one of the best ways to learn how to write grants is read grants.
Yeah.
So if you have an opportunity through this program or others, I mean, that was where I learned how to write grants, was just by reading. I was on state commissions and other things like, oh, this tells me what I need to know.
How to write a budget
I
that
just
makes
didn't work.
The Paper
Yeah.
Planes Zine Fest was a fantastic application. It
Yes,
only got down, it would be, scored at number 8, but it was out of all these grants, probably the most thorough and well
Yes.
written and hit every single.
Yes,
point.
it was a joy.
Zoom, read that one. And it was very long. Some people don't want to read a lot of things.
well,
I didn't score too high, but it
Yeah.
was just so well done.
yeah.
And that's a good point. These are available. Last year's grants are online, so you can actually go see those applications, and these will be as well. So before we take up too much time, because I already feel guilty that we went at 30 minutes over, remind everybody that these are just recommendations. I will make set up a city commission agenda item, and then this goes to the commission for their final review and approval. So if there are any concerns or something, that can come up at that level as well. So, but yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. I know this is a lot of work. You read 33 grant applications and did the scoring, so it's not easy. But yeah, thanks. And thanks for your patience. And thank you I feel like we have a victory. We beat the technology today. I have no idea. Watch now, those emails will just start showing up or something.
Your scores actually did adjust quite a few of those in placement. So I'm glad we got that on. I was like comparing with.
And, I tell everybody, even though you can see the wide range of scores, it's these biases that are valuable and help balance the assessment of these different grants and things too. So that just speaks to the process. So thank you for that. So with that, any last remarks?
Yes, I would like to ask the group about what you think about limiting characters in certain fields. Because some of those were really, really long.
Oh,
And although I enjoyed reading them,
right.
the turnaround time frame was the shortest I've ever seen.
Yes.
And so I had to do it all in one night because I didn't have time
Oh, bless your heart.
overnight. And so I really did enjoy reading about their programs and what
I think
they're
that-
planning. But if people could be concise, and maybe there's a limitation to the fields, I'm assuming there's fields and you can.
Yeah, I think there's some controls on some of them, but
Yeah.
that's a really good point of like, when we have a short turnaround, keep it concise.
Yeah.
And I know how frustrating that is on the other side. of like-
I know, but reading
But-
so many and trying to have good critical thinking and looking for those marks that we're trying to score.
Well, and truthfully with AI, you can take a paragraph and run it through and get it down.
I wrote down on my notes that I felt like one of them had been written somewhat by AI. It was really, it didn't make a lot of sense. I was not happy.
We
Yeah.
ran a fact check, like an AI checker.
Yeah,
And are there guidelines against AI? I don't know.
yeah, what is the
Ah.
city policy on AI?
Well, I'm not a writer, so I don't like AI at all, but people are gonna be using it.
I know.
I don't think we're gonna resolve this here.
It's just things to
I think about my daughter in college.
Oh.
These professors, it's there.
Yeah.
And I can't say no, although it's evident when it happens, and I'm
No.
like you, I write first, and then if I want to have a editing buddy, I'll go through AI just to say, how can I say this better?
I'm teaching a class next semester at the J school and the professor doesn't allow laptops and everything has to be written by hand. And she says they like it a lot more.
Well, you
So-
retain more when you.
I'm gonna end this video because I think we covered all that we were supposed to cover here during the meeting.
Thank you, Porter.
Thank you, guys.